everyone. So this is now part 2 of the tiny home. I did, however, forgot to enable it to be a tiny home. I do use a lot of mods. So my mods are like, you can extend what a tiny home could really be. You can make an entire three-store home, and you can make it into a tiny home easily. Yeah, so I forgot to enable that, so I made this about a 1970s small home style, and this is actually an inspiration from Caswell Hills in Saskatoon. And I kind of like the little retro theme that I actually did. It is so tiny that you can barely have a high chair or anything. So if you are going to have like a toddler, you're going to have them to maybe eat on the couch. That's kind of really bad, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do for a small tiny home. Also, sadly, the garage is so small, and now some of these smaller homes, our cars have gotten so big that the really teeny tiny garages from like the 70s homes can't really fit a big size sedan. So what you now really have to do is just use it like a utility closet. So that's what we did for this home. We made it like it was a 1970s inspired home that it was eventually redone basically. We did, however, do a retro style kitchen sink in this home, and it turned out to be beautiful. I was trying to work on that kind of kitchen because I really like using those kitchen cabinets, but sadly I couldn't use them. I really wanted to, but I couldn't. So here we go. We're trying to figure out the cabinets, and I eventually used the RVSN. I was trying to figure out what kind of stone do I want to use, a granite, and I was going to use a 1970s inspiration for this, but I didn't. You're going to see how I actually did the curtains for the sink, and it's actually turned out to be epic. It looks amazing. So here's me trying to figure out a sink that I really want to use. And I think I actually did use that sort of sink. I usually use the bigger one. I never, ever use the smaller one. But I actually eventually did use eventually use the smaller one. And it actually turned out pretty nice. And so here's me just trying to shimmy everything over so I can make that sink look like it's supposed to be there. And so here's me adding things in, and I used a lot of old retro kind of themes. Also, I forgot to add a hood for the stove, so I'd have to go back before I put on this on the gallery, and I'd have to go back and re-add a few extra things before I put on the gallery. I also forgot to put the texturings of the normal grass color in the back that I actually usually use my modded grass color. I didn't really do anything. I didn't touch anything up there. And I did not test this bedroom. I'm sure it works, but I did not test this bedroom, and I hope it works, because if not, then we're going to have to move this home to a bigger lot. And if we do that, then there'll be a part 3. So here's me trying to figure out homes, old style homes. And some old style homes, they have the wardrobe, but then they have the mirror glued or hammered onto the side of the wardrobe. So that's what I did there. And I don't know if it's usable, if it can be used by the sim, but I'm going to play test everything tomorrow. And if it can't be used, I'm going to go back and I'm going to fix up some stuff, but I really hope that can be used, because that would be really, really cool. So here's me adding some retro stuff into this build, and I really love the way this turned out. Now, that small, I was going to try to do a dinette kind of thing, but I could only add 2 chairs. And sometimes you have to do what you got to do, and I added 2 extra stools, so you can have a family of 4 still having dinner, but they'd have to be some at the bar and some not. I also did use Instead of the sliding glass doors, which I usually use, I use garden doors instead. And the way this turned out, it was beautiful. I loved it. I don't know if I fixed, if I did put a dishwasher in this build. If I didn't, however, I'll go back and I'll put a dishwasher in this build. Dishwashers are so useful and handy, even in real life. So sadly, I wish I had a dishwasher where I live, but I don't because I live in an apartment. So here's me just working on a small, tiny, kids-friendly home. I'm sure if these guys have babies, they're going to have them grow up quite quickly to be toddlers. I forgot to add a potty chair, so you're going to have to add a potty chair in here. So you'll have to add a few extra things. I used a lot of blues and white and cream colors for this build. One of my favorite colors is blue, baby blue. So I love the pastel kind of colors. It kind of screams a little bit more retro theme. And I really like the way everything turned out. It looks amazing, beautiful. And it actually looks like a family has lived here for years. I was going to use those suitcases and make it a story of a World War I or World War II older couple that used to raise their kids in this home, and I didn't. I didn't use those suitcases. I added something else, and it actually makes it look spectacular when it was actually eventually done. I really like how there's a small, tiny foyer, but it doesn't extend into the other room, and since this family is really retro old theme, I added quite a bit of traveling stuff eventually. I did make that toy box, however, smaller. So I made that toy box a little bit better. So we're just adding colors and textures and making it look a little bit better. I had to shimmy everything forward because I was actually going to make that garage / utility room a little bit bigger, longer. But then I remembered how the older homes were made, and I didn't even touch it. I was also trying to think if I wanted to add a tiny bit of grass in the front, but I remembered as a kid and my father saying, if you have that teeny tiny strip of grass, why not just make an entire flower bed, and you don't have to worry about mowing the grass in the front yard. And if you have an old home from the Caswell Hills, sometimes that's what they usually do. I don't know what some people do. I know in Canada we really can't have in-ground pools, but I like to add, even if it's a tiny pool, I like to add something that would help the Sims. And here's me adding on a memory for my father. My father would have said the same thing to do this, and he would have literally just grabbed the rototiller and just got rid of that tiny, tiny strip of grass. And he would have just made it into a little flower bed and made it into a spectacular build. My father was a very strong, independent man, and he was very, very smart. So he used to love flowers, and he used to love planting, and he used to do stuff like this. The weird thing is, when I start my main LP, I actually might put my grandparents in this house and might make it into to where I am today. I have so much depression. I'm going through a lot of loss because I lost my dad. And I really want to have my sim go through the same loss that I went through of losing my dad. So that's something that I'm going to be doing. And it's kind of sad to do this. Now, I did, however, put more of those trees, planted more of those trees, and I glued those trees mainly. If you have an older home, they're really, eventually when you keep planting trees, they're going to eventually grow into each other. So, yeah, I'm just trying to figure out, that roof was so stressful on me. I was trying to figure out how to make that roof, work and look good and not be so high pitched. And now something does happen. We sometimes have trucks that go on the sidewalk. It's not ideal. It's not a good situation for anyone to be walking around someone's truck, but because it's such an older, smaller home, that's all you have is a teeny tiny piece of pavement. So that's something that I really like building these older homes in The Sims 4, because I really like how it turned out. It makes it up to a beautiful home at the end. So here's me just trying to figure out how I was going to have that as a covered porch, because I wanted a covered porch in the back. So I was trying to see if I could do a covered porch, and I actually eventually did. I forgot to add a lattice. Basically, it's a room divider in that little part where you can't have any fencing. So I'll have to go back and add that before I put this on the gallery. This will be on the gallery eventually. I'll let you guys know when I have posted it on the gallery. But you remember, guys, I'm gonna have to start posting where I've gotten all my mods and stuff from. Mainly everything is usually from TSR or some other people. Here's me probably got stopped because we were having issues with our cat. Her name is Queen Bee. She's been attacking our youngest kitten. His name is Odie, and lately she's been attacking him because she's been trying to show dominance. And Odie is a male, and he is just about 11 weeks. I think he's 11 weeks already, and he's actually showing more dominance towards her. But anyways, guys, it was a 1 hour video, and I made it scrunched down to 12 minutes. Hit the like, subscribe button down below, everyone. I'm going to test this house tomorrow, so I'm going to do a small, teeny tiny recording of me testing this house and touching up everything. And it's basically going to be like Tinyhome final 3 testing, and then posting everything on the gallery. Okay, so hit the like, subscribe button down below, and I hope you guys had a great Easter yesterday. I know I sure did. I enjoyed a lot of the time with my family, and I'm going to go put my butt back into bed because I'm still sort of getting over pneumonia, and I'm going to go play a little bit of Neverwinter for about an hour and a half, watch some more Grey's Anatomy or whatever I was watching, and just relax. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye, everyone.